episode of Craze's Corner. We're doing a mock draft show for you guys today. So you're not going to want to miss that. We got us four on screen as well as some other fantasy experts drafting off screen. So you definitely want to make sure you stay tuned for that. But first, we got a few news stories. The first news story, Corey Davis has announced his retirement. He'll be stepping away from football at the age of 28. This leaves some room for Mecole Hardman to get more involved in this Jets offense. Now, it'll be interesting to see how exactly that this Jets offense looks. Corey Davis was a decent part of this offense last year, so we'll see what this looks like going forward. The next news story is Jonathan Taylor has been given permission to seek trade. It's been reported that 2 teams have made offers and 6 teams have made calls. We'll see what develops with that. They're going to be asking for a lot, and I'm not sure if these teams are actually going to want to pay up, a first-round pick or anything like that for Jonathan Taylor, but we will see. And the next news story is that Sam Darnold has been named the number 2 quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, which means Trey Lance is now the 3rd string in San Francisco. Do we think he's going to get a job somewhere else? Will they trade Trey Lance? Are they going to keep him to be their 3rd string quarterback? What do you guys think? Let us know using the MEedia app. MEedia app is a virtual press conferencing app that allows you to host a virtual press conference from your phone. You can go answer that question. Do you think Trey Lance is going to be on another team come the start of the season? So you can let us know. Go check it out on the Google Play and the App Store. And now let's welcome in our guests. We have Will, Zach, and Jeff. Welcome in, guys.
Welcome. Sorry.
Everybody, I'm sorry. Everybody on mute. Apologies.
Will's muting everyone over here, but like I said, we have a mock draft episode today. Before the show, I heard Zach and Will talking it out, trying to work out a trade for Trey Lance in our Dynasty League. Obviously, Zach has Trey Lance, looking to move him. So we'll see if something materializes there. We have our mock draft up here on the screen. 2 minutes per pick. It's a 12-team draft. We are going to let the draft start here. 2 minutes per pick, like I said. So we're going to give everyone time to draft. We're going to talk about our picks, and we're going to analyze everyone else's picks, maybe make fun of some people, who knows. But I'm sure Will agree with the first pick there.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
going fast.
Well, the computers will go fast for sure. But yeah, so we went Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and then Jeff, you had Christian McCaffrey fall to you at 3. Love that pick there. Was that an easy selection for you?
I couldn't believe it, man. I was just like, oh yes, let's just bring him on to me. I didn't necessarily want Chase, and that's what I thought I was going to do.
What's the rules of the league? What's the quarterbacks getting for touchdowns? Throwing.
This is a 6-point throwing touchdown, not tight end premium. So this is just a fairly simple PPR league. We have no defenses, no kickers. Will going quarterback early.
Yeah.
You think quarterback's the right move there in a 6-point per passing touchdown league?
Yeah, because the wide receivers to me are all kind of grouping up now. Same with the running backs. So I'll take the best quarterback on the board.
Definitely fair. Zach, you're on the clock here. What are you thinking?
Well, immediately you guys probably see me taking Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
know I love Cooper Kupp, but what I love even more are rookie running backs with high draft capital. So give me some Bijan mustard on my hot dog. Let's get it started. I've done a few mock drafts with just kind of a little insight with Bijan at that pick. And I got to be honest with you, I'm loving some of the team makeups that you can get with taking Bijan right there. So hoping I can continue that. But you guys are pretty good at what you do. So
Zach, I would almost pick. It was between Bijan and Mahomes for me. And I just got cold feet with Atlanta. That's it.
It's like the Tua thing is like whatever. It's like even myself, I'm like nervous with Hill, but at the same time, Like Cooper Cup, same thing. I'm like, I'd rather just take the crazy potential with Bijan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's why you guys should be on the phone trying to get Trey Lance right now, Mr. Miami.
Oh, goodness. I hope so for Dynasty.
Yeah, that would definitely be good. I'm looking at my roster here. I'm on the clock. We had a four teams take wide receivers. Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs went off the board. I probably would have taken one of those three had they fallen. And then A.J. Brown went. Definitely was not in consideration. Looking at my rankings here, I have my number 3 running back available. So I'm going to take Nick Chubb. And then looking at the wide receiver position here, a guy I haven't taken yet, but I just moved up my board a little bit because of the Corey Davis retirement. I think he might get a couple extra targets, and that's Garrett Wilson.
Oh, man, I was hoping he would drop.
He was not falling past me. Next, we have Devontae Adams, who is in consideration. Saquon Barkley, CeeDee Lamb, Derrick Henry, and Zach is back on the clock here. Bijan in the first round. What are we looking at here? You're looking to double up at the running back position, maybe go a different direction, try and balance your team?
Yeah, I'm going to go balance here, and I'm going to go with a guy who I think has wide receiver 1 upside still on the board. That's going to be the sun god, Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Detroit Lions. Let's go. I love the stack right here. We got 2 young, explosive players, especially in PPR format.
For sure. That's definitely a good duo there. Will, you're now on the clock. You got Mahomes. Would you entice drafting Mark Andrews here just for fun to have a quarterback and a tight end already?
Do it.
No. And then, look, this part of the draft sucks because honestly, Jacobs and Taylor should be off the board.
Right.
So, and if I don't pick them, they're going to be gone the next 2 picks.
Yeah, because they will probably be auto drafted. I'm not touching Jonathan Taylor anywhere near the first 3 rounds.
I'm not. Josh Jacob makes me nervous, to be honest.
I'm not that worried about Josh Jacobs. I think he'll be in there for sure.
All right, Zach, you talked me into it.
There you go, Josh Jacobs, and then Josh Allen, Jonathan Taylor.
You guys want to talk? This might be a reach, but since
Jalen Hurts,
and it's not necessarily the league that we're having, I'm going with a different rookie. Booyah, PPR.
Oh!
Wow. I love that.
Jeff, you probably could have got him in the 3-3. We'll see what you miss out on.
I don't think so, man. I don't think so.
See, no, you called it Genie would have grabbed him if you didn't.
Yeah. There you go. So we got Jalen Waddle and Tony Pollard off the board there. Genie said he would have taken Gibbs, so you definitely made a good call there, Jeff. We'll see who comes back around to you here. We got Lady Shot Caller so far with Chase and Waddle going for that 0 running back strategy. We'll see how that works out for her. Other than that, our team so far, Jeff's going robust running back. T. Higgins goes off the board. Will, quarterback and a running back. Zach's got a quarterback and a running back and wide receiver, and so do I. This kind of gives you a good idea of drafting from different positions here. Jeff's early. Will and Zach are right in the middle of the draft, and I'm at the end. So you can kind of see, maybe in your league you get to choose where you're going to go. Chris Olave, 3 wide receivers. That would have been my pick for Jeff there for sure.
Since you took Chris Olave, I always got a backup plan.
Calvin Ridley. It's a little early for me. Little early. Never.
Not for this guy.
So
you will see this year.
It was kind of like I was saying earlier about the team makeup. Like for me right here, taking Jalen Hurts is a no-brainer. Just kind of with the upside that he brings.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm not in love with Jalen Hurts. I think everyone who's ever heard me speak about Jalen Hurts knows that by now. But definitely you have balance going for you. You got a running back, a solid wide receiver, and now you got a quarterback who is quarterback one upside on every week. And then Etienne, Andrews, Jackson, and Joe Mixon went right before my pick. He was definitely a guy I was looking at. Looking at best available, I think I want to try and keep my balance that I have going for me. I'm not really interested in the quarterbacks at this point. Looking at the best available running backs, according to my rankings, I would have to go with Miles Sanders. And looking at the wide receivers, because I want to keep this balance, Amari Cooper would be my number one wide receiver available. Neither of them are going to get back to me, so that's the direction that I am going to go here.
Nice.
Oh, Sanders. Okay.
I like that.
Yeah, I think he's got the reception upside there, and as I said, I'm not going to get him on my way back. And looking at the rest of the running backs, Breece Hall, Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker, Pierce is probably in that consideration. But that was really Miles Sanders was. I wanted Mixon. I would have taken Mixon over Sanders, but I think I had to take him there. Now I got 2 wide receivers and 2 running backs. Hawkinson goes off the board a little early for me. Metcalf, Breece Hall, Joe Burrow, and now Zach. What are you looking at here for your next pick?
I'm looking at a guy that I think Jeff and I were both totally in love with last year, and that's the second year man out of Florida Gators is Damian Pierce.
Like it.
I think it's just a volume play there for a 4th round for me to get my RB2, who's probably going to get a ton of volume. I just like it. So now I got my 2 RBs kind of locked in there.
Yeah, absolutely. He was on the field for every play that the starters were on the field for in the Texans in the last preseason game. So that's definitely important. Singletary played that game, but he didn't play until after the starters were gone. So that's something to keep in mind when drafting him. I expect him to kind of raise up draft.
How bad is McLaurin's toe?
I guess it's not turf toe. So
no, they said it's day to day, is what they said.
Because I would take McLaurin here.
Yeah, the wide receivers are kind of like weird for me right here. There's a lot of one of these guys is gonna pop. It's picking the right one.
Yep. And looking at these wide receivers, I don't know which one is going to be.
Right, because I mean, you're looking at DeAndre Hopkins. He's still a D-hop.
Yeah,
it's like
I can't. Him and Keenan Allen give me nightmares. Just
I just drafted Keenan Allen in my money league. I got both of them as my wide receivers.
I'm gonna regret if this was real. I would regret that pick, but because you just know he's gonna miss 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, I paired those 2 with Tyreek Hill in that league, so I'm fairly happy there. Now, Deebo Samuel and Justin Fields in the 4th round. Definitely interesting to see how many quarterbacks have gone already. 6 quarterbacks, I believe, have gone off the board already because Lamar Jackson also went. Quarterbacks that seem to keep pushing themselves up draft boards. Jeff, you're on the clock here. You've got 2 running backs and a wide receiver. Kenneth Walker is still there. Is that the direction you're going here, Jeff?
He sure is. And that's what I'm thinking about here, man. I really am. Jeez.
There's DJ Moore, Jeff.
Who kind of scares me a little bit as well. I do know that the Seahawks are going to run the ball, even though Jacques Charbonnet is there. I trust Walker a little bit more than Aaron Jones. I really don't know what that offense is going to look like, so I will take Kenneth Walker.
I should have just auto picked that one for you. Put it in as soon as Kenneth Walker was still on the board for you. I think that one
won't be that Seattle Seahawks offense, baby.
Yeah, Lady Shot Callers is going full 0 RB here. I'll be interested to see how her team turns out. She's got Waddle, Chase, Olave, and Herbert, so she's definitely solid when it comes to the wide receiver position, and now she's got a good quarterback as well. So that'll be something to monitor. DJ Moore goes off the board, so he won't be available for you. Christian Watson.
She goes another wide receiver. That would be crazy.
She is getting every
She
wide receiver.
She could go tight end.
You know, I would be more inclined to do that in a 3 wide receiver league.
Yeah.
Not in a 2 wide receiver league.
Well, actually, that's
Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is like a RB1 is still not terrible.
Yeah, like looking at getting those 3 wide receivers and able to have Aaron Jones as your RB1 is crazy.
Right.
Crazy. Jeff, what are you looking at here? 3 running backs already. You looking at one of these old wide receivers here in DeAndre Hopkins, Terry McLaurin?
I am not. I'm going to do something a little bit off the grid, like play the rest of this draft for me. I'm going to take a guy that could be the number 1 wide receiver and tight end and go with Darren Waller.
Ooh.
Oh, this makes it easy.
It made it easy for you. Terry McLaurin is still there. There you go.
I'll take it.
Scary Terry.
Scary Terry. Zach, you're back on the clock here. Are you looking at the wide receiver room, being that you only have 1? Or
I am. I'm also looking at the running back room too, because there's honestly there's some guys on the board that I'm still like okay taking in this range. The thing is, I see a big drop off in wide receiver coming up. So, with that being said, I'm gonna take my chances here, and I'm actually gonna go with Chris Godwin because I think Baker's looked a little bit better than expected, and hopefully that talent still shines through.
Yeah, Godwin's definitely good, especially in PPR leagues. I think that's important to keep in mind here. He's going to get the targets, whether or not they amount to any sort of touchdowns or anything. That'll wait to be seen, but he will score points week in, week out because he's going to get the catches. Kittle went next, then Trevor Lawrence, J.K. Dobbins, Drake London. And this leaves me with kind of in this area that you were talking about, Zach, where I'm looking at the wide receivers. No one's really jumping out at me. Looking at the running back position, there's still a couple guys that I really like to draft. I've already got 2 running backs and 2 wide receivers, so I've given myself a little bit of flexibility if I want to double up here at the running back position, which is kind of where I'm leaning towards doing, just because I think after a couple guys at the running back position, it does fall off. Looking at Cam Akers is my top ranked running back available, so I think I'm definitely going to take Cam Akers. And since this is a 2 flex league, you can start 4 running backs if you want to. And Alexander Madison is sitting right there. Mm-hmm. I think that's the direction I'm going to go. Cam Akers and Alexander Madison. And I'll see how much my wide receivers suffer when it comes back around to me. But I'll be interested to see. I got 2 solid wide receivers already, so.
If I didn't have Bijan, I would have taken Drake London.
You would take Drake London if you didn't have Bijan?
Yeah, and then if my other choice would have been Alexander Madison after Chris Godwin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think with Bijan, you definitely can't take Drake London in an offense that we don't project to be amazing. You definitely don't want to have 2 guys in that offense for sure. There you go. Pitts, Kamara, Lockett, Swift. Zach, you're back on the clock here. What are you looking at?
This one's more of kind of this one's tough because I do like the stack of Dallas Goedert and Jalen Hurts, but for me, I need to get a little bit more of an explosive piece here, and I'm gonna reach for me and my Will. I know that he's your guy too. I'm gonna go with James Cook from Buffalo.
Yeah, that's a great pick, Zach. I think there's value because I think he's finally the clear number 1. And he's a receiving threat, right? He'll get some touches.
Mm-hmm.
Hope so.
Yeah, he definitely should get some touches as long as they don't say trade for Jonathan Taylor.
Right.
That would be detrimental.
All right. We're going to go with Christian Kirk.
Christian Kirk, you're not worried about Calvin Ridley being there, Will?
No.
And Jeff, obviously, you took Calvin Ridley in the third round, so you think Calvin Ridley is going to get majority. Would you be interested at all in Kirk in any league if you didn't have Ridley, or you're full in on Ridley?
I'm full in on Ridley, man, to tell you the truth. I really, really am. I am going to go ahead and get what I look at might be the most competent last running quarterback left, and I'll go ahead and take Deshaun Watson there. I was looking at Anthony Richardson later on during the draft, but I don't want to have the possible mistakes that might come in as well. I love the rocket arm, but I can see some mistakes coming.
Yeah, and after that, Brandon Ayuk and James Conner went. I was kind of curious where James Conner was going to go. He was by far my best available running back for a bit. And I think he's just getting slept on because no one really wants to own a part of the Arizona offense. And then Javonte Williams went next. Lady shot caller only got Aaron Jones. I was surprised she didn't take James Conner there. That would have been great to be able to have James Conner and Aaron Jones, two RB1s on their teams. Was really, Conner doesn't really have that much competition behind him. But she went Ayuk, and now she could take another running back here if she likes a Pacheco or a Rachaad White, or we'll have to see. And then, Jeff, you're coming back up on the clock here in a minute. Is there someone you're hoping she doesn't take if she goes Pacheco?
Yeah. There actually is. I didn't think anybody was going to take him anyway, because this is a controversial reach again and up for debate. I think this guy could at least be a 1B receiver if he doesn't leapfrog somebody and become 1A. And that's
Jahan Dotson. I knew who you were talking about. You and Will, you have Ridley and Dotson, and Will has Christian Kirk and Terry McLaurin, two guys who were the number ones last year. And you got the guys who you think are going to be able to surpass them. Will, you're back on the clock here after Michael Pittman and George Pickens went off the board. What are you looking at?
I'm going to go with Montgomery because I think he becomes the number one back in Detroit.
Really?
Yes.
I don't. I think that, especially PPR-wise, I think Gibbs is going to be. So you and Jeff are just drafting opposite teams.
Hey, I'll take it in this. I'll take it in the 7th round. At worst, he's a 1B as my third running back.
Yeah, I think he's going to get more rushing volume than he will in the receiving game. But Zach, you're back on the clock here. 3 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a quarterback. Are you looking at the tight end position here to try and fill out that last spot, or are you going to go to your flex spot here?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to punt on the tight end position, to be totally honest. As much as I love Evan Ingram, I want to take the chance. This is kind of more of an upside team. And I'm going to go with Rachaad White here, running back for Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Hopefully we can translate some of that potential from last season into maybe some more stats this year.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it's kind of just a high upside play.
Yes, for sure. Absolutely. And I think, you're looking at the running backs left available, there really isn't too much. Marquise Brown went right after that, or wide receiver 1 for the Cardinals. I like that pick. And then Mike Williams, Evan Ingram. James is on the clock here. Looking at, because I'm up after James, Mike Evans is still available. And I think for a team that only has 1 or 2 wide receivers, I think he's definitely in consideration for me. I ended up taking Mike Evans in my money league to pair him along with Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, and Keenan Allen because nobody wanted Mike Evans. So I had a really old wide receiving core there, but I think Mike Evans is definitely one of the guys I got to pick here. Looking at my best available players, as I said, I drafted Mike Evans, and I'm going to take the guy that I followed Mike Evans up with in the draft that I had my money league, and that's Jordan Addison. Get a rookie wide receiver on my team, a guy who I think has some upside there to be he's the wide receiver 2 on the Vikings from week 5. So I think that's definitely A great pick there. Will, you're our Vikings fan. You think Addison is a good pick in the 18th round?
It could be a steal, or it could be 1 year early. Little like he didn't make it through mandatory the offseason program, and then the concussion thing last week kind of worries. Honestly, a little bit of a red flag. Being put in concussion protocol for just falling to the ground. I mean, shit happens, but look, I'm a diehard. I am a little worried about Addison's ability to stay healthy all year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. James is on the clock here. Looking at my team, I definitely need to get a tight end and quarterback at some point, but I'm not super worried. Looking at the quarterbacks, there's still 6 or 7 guys that are startable, in my opinion. And looking at the tight ends, there's still a group of guys there that I like, so that may be the direction I go on my next round. Deontay Johnson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Antonio Gibson, and Darius Toney went. Zach, you're back on the clock after going running back with your last 2 picks. So you're looking to switch it up here, maybe take that tight end or another wide receiver.
So if this were a real league and I needed to get as many points as possible, like I would take Jamal Williams right here as a 3-week rental. But man, this one's tough. I'm not gonna lie, this one's tough. But I think I'm gonna go with Brian Robinson, running back for Washington Commanders.
Good pick.
Him and Gibson going pretty close together. Gibson probably has that receiving upside, and Brian Robinson profiles to be their starting running back. So it's definitely a situation where it's kind of like, which do you want? The guy that's probably going to be more consistent in the 8 to 12 range, and Brian Robinson, or the guy in Gibson who's probably going to have a 25-point week and then a 2-point week the week after. So how do you want your points? And I think that's really what you're dealing with
Exactly.
for me there.
I'm going to reach and take a wide receiver, Zay Flowers. I like Zay. Everybody's down on him coming out of Boston College. Watched a couple of his preseason games. He seems to be building a good connection, and the offense seems to be changing. So, might be a reach at that point, but
if it pans out, it pans out. To me, there's just too many guys in Baltimore with Odell, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews, and Isaiah Likely. I would throw in that group as well. So with the questions of what is this offense going to be, if you take your shot and you hit, but I think you're dealing with some pretty low chances that your guy's going to hit. Jeff, you're on the clock here. You took Jahan Dotson. Last pick. Would you like to take one of the Ravens wide receivers here just to keep opposing teams with Will, or are you looking at a different?
No. I'm going to kind of go a different direction. I think I'm going to take a guy who currently is in the number 1 position. I think he's going to break out this year and keep that top spot in the running back position for the Bears. This is Khalil Herbert.
Khalil Herbert. That's a good pick there. As well. I'm expecting Will to take Donta Foreman with his next pick.
Exactly.
And then, maybe Jeff on the way back around, if you want to take Jalen Warren to combat Will's Najee Harris pick, and you guys can really just go tit for tat. Freiermuth goes next to Lady Shot Caller. She's putting together quite a squad. Now she's got her full roster filled out, at least her starting roster. Time to build out a bench. Jeannie Gabe is on the clock. But yeah, other than the fact that Will and Jeff really seem to dislike each other, I think that this draft has started fairly well for all of us. Zach's got a nice balanced team. He's gone running back heavy, hoping that, a couple of them hit.
Oh, Anthony Richardson off the board. I like it.
Richardson. I think it's interesting. I was talking with Zach earlier. I just brought it up before the show. I was looking at trying to come up with a trade offer for Tyreek Hill in our Dynasty League. And Anthony Richardson was one of the names I was throwing out there to myself, just trying to see. I think Anthony Richardson probably has more value in a Dynasty League and a Superflex League like that than Tyreek Hill at this point. I was trying to think of what I would need in return with Tyreek Hill to make Anthony Richardson on Zach's team. Just throwing that out there, Zach. It's kind of an idea I was toying around with. If you have any interest in it.
All right, I'm gonna have to think about that one.
Yeah, it's a polarizing player for sure there in Anthony Richardson. And then I got to decide whether or not I actually have the team that can compete in that league. Because if I don't, I'm not sure I need Tyreek Hill right now. I think I'm still a year away. But if I think I can push all my chips in, it might make sense. So we said 2 tight ends there, Freiermuth and Cole Kmet go off the board. So now looking at it, most teams have a tight end. Will does not have a tight end. Zach does not have a tight end.
Oh, Lady Sharp. Wow.
Charbonnet.
That's who I was going to take.
I was
Oh,
gonna say,
man.
yeah, that was who that was.
You may
Will was
not have
supposed
gotten
to take him.
Yeah. Jeez, come on, Lady Shot Caller. You didn't get the whole
Yeah.
opposing team.
Well, I like that pick, and it's going to make me pull the trigger on somebody else that's kind of a reach. But I think this guy might end up becoming one of the main ball carriers in Jacksonville, which is Tank Bigsby.
Big Tank.
He's just Zach Sharp.
So we got 2 teams there auto drafting, obviously there, but they go 2 quarterbacks, and now they have backup quarterbacks. The quarterback pool's getting weak. Will and Zach both have one, so they don't have to worry about that. Are you looking at tight end here, Will, or are you still looking to add some other pieces?
I'm not. I mean, this is not a tight end bonus league, and it's just 1 tight end, so I'm not going to overvalue tight end right now with what's on the board. There's a player I like potentially. I'm going to do this.
Dave Davis.
I just don't know what's going on with Diggs and having nightmares from when he left the Vikings. It's very similar. So we will see.
Zach, what are you looking at here?
I'm not gonna lie, Njoku is kind of wouldn't be a terrible pick for me, but it just feels like it'd be a total waste.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna not go that route.
Well, Williams is there still.
He is. Yep.
But Zach also has taken a running back in 4 of the last 5 rounds.
This is also true.
Well, Zach, how you feeling about your wide receivers? Because if you're really, to me, if you got what you want at wide receiver.
Yep.
Are you confident with Chris Godwin
and St. Brown? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not making me feel all great inside, to be totally honest. But with this pick here, I'm just gonna take a chance and hope it becomes something. I'm gonna go Michael Thomas.
There you go.
So why not?
High
I
up.
just did that thing, Zach. I was like, Tank Bigsby might be there when I get back, but I was like, I just like him. I'm just gonna take him now. But Michael Thomas was gonna be that pick.
So Zach, did you think about Beckham at all?
No, to be honest, because I don't know if it's gonna be something I really want to deal with on a week-to-week basis, which Ravens wide receiver is going to be the one to get the work. And I just think there's some more centralized targets in New Orleans. And if Chris Olave can't step up to that elite wide receiver season everyone is projecting him for, and Michael Thomas just stays on the field, I'd imagine Michael Thomas will be more fantasy relevant than Odell Beckham if they all play 17 games or at least 12 games, you know.
Yeah, I think that's definitely fair. I'm up next, looking to me, the tight end position. Not a huge gap between Dalton Schultz and Juwan Johnson. So,
how are y'all feeling about Denver's wide receivers?
I like Cortland Sutton there in the end of the 9th round. I think that's a value. Jerry Jeudy went a lot earlier. Not sure exactly where he fell on this board, but he's going a lot earlier than Courtland Sutton, and I think they probably still both have around the same chance of being the number one when it comes to end of season production. So I like Sutton. What do you guys think?
I like him too. I
Yeah.
actually like James' team. He's looking pretty good.
I think Courtland
So
Sutton
do you
is
in the
terrible.
draft? In the drafts you've been in, do you get the sense that Denver players are being undervalued right now?
Yeah.
Kind of. I'm still not fully sold that these Denver players are going to be.
What the running backs are going to make a difference. Like if Javonte is just healthy for some crazy reason,
Mm-hmm.
and he is a massive value if he's a starting running back.
Yeah, I'm looking here at the quarterback position. Well, there's 4 or 5 guys I'm looking at, and I know that in this league, since we got a couple auto drafts, quarterbacks might go. I'm gonna play as if this wasn't gonna happen, because I think I could, in a regular league with all the quarterbacks that people already have, get some good value on my way back. So I think I'm looking at getting another wide receiver and running back here. Like I said, I'm not interested in the tight end position. At wide receiver, I'm going for upside. I'm taking Sky Moore. I think he could be the number 1 wide receiver for the Chiefs. So I think that's definitely a direction that I have to go. Looking at the rest of the wide receivers, there's a couple guys that are interesting and no one that I'm really like, oh my God, I need to have. Running back position, it would be nice to have someone to pair with the first 4 that I drafted, just in case we get some injuries. Looking at a couple names, Tyler Algier, Devon A-Chain is currently hurt, Jamal Williams, Samaje Perine. Really no one jumping out at me, in my opinion. I think I will go to the quarterback position because I do think that these guys aren't going to come back to me, so I'll take a guy to pair.
Kirk Cousins.
I'm going to take Kirk Cousins to pair with Addison and Madison on my team here. So now I got 3 Vikings in my first 10 picks. Not sure how I feel about that, but
You're a closet Viking fan.
apparently, just the way I took Madison, Addison, and Kirk Cousins as 3 of my last 5 picks. And the ones in between there are wide receivers wearing red jerseys. So I got a nice pattern going on at the end of the draft board there. But I think I'm happy with it. There's some running backs I like that are going to come later. And with the last pick of the draft, I'll take my tight end. I got Javonte, almost came back to you again, Zach. You talked about taking him
Right.
two rounds ago, and he almost came back, and then Perine went right before him. What are you looking at this position? Odell is still available, but there's a couple other wide receivers I would like in your position more than him.
Yep, that is true. This is tough though. I'm definitely gonna go wide receiver just to add depth here, and it's tough. But let's go. Let's go. Adam Thielen.
Thielen. That's not the direction I thought you were going to go, but he should be a safe target. DJ Chark is dealing with a hamstring injury right now. Who knows? Terrace Marshall's got a back injury, so if you're just looking PPR points, Thielen should be solid. Will, you're on the clock.
Yeah.
You still need a tight end.
Yeah, I'm doing a last round thing with you too.
Yeah, at this point, to me, Dalton Schultz, I don't really want a piece of that Texans offense. Kincaid has some upside, but you're taking a quarterback to pair with Patrick Mahomes. Are you worried about injuries just in case, or are you just
nah? To me, it's like, yeah, I just want to mess with Jeff.
I'm going to reach for one of my favorite guys that
Drew Lock.
I think will be the number 1 wide receiver as opposed to number 2, and that is my man Romeo Doubs.
Oh, let's go.
I knew you were taking Dobbs at some point in this draft. I just didn't know when it was going to be.
Yeah, nobody has more share.
Right there.
Yeah, Jeff is definitely in love with Romeo Doubs, and if he becomes number 1 target in this offense for Jordan Love, then he could definitely. Where did Christian Watson went in the 5th round and Romeo Dobbs at the beginning of the 5th round, and Romeo Dobbs is going at the end of the 10th round? I think I'd rather have Dobbs in that position than Christian Watson.
There you go.
For me, I think that's exploiting the value. With some questions, there's still a wide receiver
Stop it, Stop it, man. Stop it, Jeannie.
Broncos country.
That's right.
That's right.
I had to make sure it was
Oh
stuck
my
in
gosh,
before.
you guys are horrible.
It'll be 3 years from now. We'll still be doing Broncos country.
Absolutely, we will be.
Cordell Patterson's still on the board.
I'm going to take him just so we can talk about it.
Handcuff.
Yeah, Zach, he could be your handcuff, though. You could take him. Devon A-Chain, Zach,
That's
you're our
great.
resident Dolphins fan. Do you think that A-Chain, who is currently the only Dolphins running back selected, I believe, do you think he's going to be the leader in this backfield?
No, not at all. He's way too small. I think that was on display the other night when he got power bombed by a cornerback.
Zeke. I like the Zeke pick.
That's a good pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the Zeke pick there is all right, but I agree with Zach when it comes to A-Chain. I don't think he's going to be that guy. And then Jeannie Gabe, he took Jameson Williams. To me, as much as I love Jameson Williams, to have him sit on your bench for 6 weeks and not know exactly for sure what you're going to get after that, I am a fan of picking him up on the waiver wire in week 5, but I don't think drafting him in this position, in any position really, for Jameson Williams is going to be – he's not going to find himself on many of my teams unless you have an IR spot that you can put suspended players on, which most of my leagues don't have. I think I'm out on Jameson Williams until he gets dropped, because he will be dropped by anyone who drafts him, in my opinion. There we go. Bateman, another Ravens wide receiver off the board finally. There we go. The 3 Ravens wide receivers are off the board, and Odell, Flowers, Bateman. Jeff, you're back on the clock here. Looking at Will's team, I was wondering if you wanted to take
Quentin
a Buffalo
Johnson.
wide receiver, or Jalen Warren is still available, I believe. So maybe he's the pick. What are you looking at here, Jeff?
Oh, man. Yeah, it's getting kind of slim pickings here, so I'm going to just back myself up
Westbrook
and not allow Will to get him just in case my man Herbert gets hurt. I'll take Dr. Foreman there.
Nice.
There we go. Lazard was the player that I had best available, especially after Corey Davis got retired today. I think Alan Lazard could definitely be a value in the 11th round. He's a guy that I project to have double-digit touchdowns with Aaron Rodgers this season. Will, you're back on the clock. What are you looking at here? Your team is full except for the tight end position. But you said you're leaving to the last round, so you're going wide receiver or running back here?
That's a great question.
A question you have approximately 1 minute and 50 seconds to answer. Going for a Dallas wide receiver.
Yeah. Maybe be a little bit undervalued coming off the injury, and, Cooks is there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Yeah, with Cooks there, I think that's one of the reasons why he's falling so far in drafts, but I don't know what this Mike McCarthy offense is going to look like. Zach, you're on the clock here. You went on a stretch of taking all running backs. Now you're taking all wide receivers. Are you looking at the tight end position, or are you going to do what Will and I are doing and leave it to the last round?
I'm not going to do that because I'm going to take the chance. If I'm going to have one of these ridiculous streaming tight end situations, I like Chigakonko, but not enough to where I can, downplay the hype around the rookie Dalton Kincaid for Buffalo.
I knew somebody's going to get him.
So we'll see what comes of that. It could be a total wash, but at this point with these tight ends, I'd rather just take the chance on the unknown and what could be there potentially playing with a great quarterback like Josh Allen versus playing with a guy like Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, for sure. I think that, rookie tight ends don't normally pan out, but if he can line up in the slot, a few more times, and I think it could definitely pan out for him. Then McKinnon, Okonkwo went, who you talked about, Daniel Jones, and Damian Harris. Looking at best available for me, the wide receiver position, I've already got Wilson, Cooper, Evans, Addison, Sky Moore. Looking at who's available, no one's super jumping out at me. There's a couple guys I like, Van Jefferson, John Mechie, but nothing that's really jumping out. At this time, I'm looking at guys that I think, if an injury happens, they could be amazing. They might have their own standalone value. Probably leaning running backs here. Just this the way I like to end my draft. Take a chance on a couple of guys. I believe that this guy can be. I think he might actually end up leading this backfield when it comes to being on the field. I think he'll be on the field the most out of any of the three backs that they have. And that's Kenneth Gainwell.
Oh. Okay.
I was looking at too.
Kenneth Gainwell in the 11th or 12th round is an extreme value, especially when Swift and Penny are already gone. I think that Gainwell, he's been in the system. They like him. And he's going to, I think he'll profile to be their third down back, which will it turn out to be anything? Will Jalen Hurts be able to get him enough points? I'm not sure, but we're definitely going to find out. And then, we talked a little bit about this Miami backfield. We brought on Mostert. And I'm not going that direction. I'm going with Jeff Wilson Jr.
Oh,
Yes.
Mr. Top 5.
Let's go.
And I think he profiles to be their starting running back as well. I think to be able to get, in my opinion, two guys that could be their team starting running backs in the 11th and 12th round, I will definitely take it. Tyler Algier went one spot before you, Zach. If he had fallen to you, were you looking to handcuff Bijan Robinson there, or were you going to go a different direction?
Nope, because I don't know if it's really worth wasting the roster spot when I can take the starting running back for the Miami Dolphins. That's for Team Mostert, baby.
Love it.
Yeah, no, it's just kind of a depth piece that can hit a home run in one play, and if you have to start him, it's you could be putting worse guys in there.
Mm-hmm. And Jacoby Myers went off the board at the 12th, at the 8th spot. I think he's an interesting one. Will, you took KJ Osborne. Is this a little bit of a homer pick, or you think he can actually be the wide receiver 2?
Well, if Addison can't stay healthy, he will be the wide receiver 2. And, I think in the 12th round, I'll take that chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Jacoby Myers, like I said, I think he's an interesting guy. He's going to be – he just got paid to be the wide receiver 2 in Oakland or in Las Vegas. So we'll see how this offense looks. I'm not sure if Jimmy Garoppolo can support him and Devontae Adams.
Come on, Jeff. Take Russ.
Pick.
Come on, Jeff. Take Russ. Take Russ. Come on,
Let's
Jeff.
ride.
Let's ride, baby. Come on. I do.
Let's go.
I do like the Rasheem Rice pick, though, out of Kansas City. That's a good potential pick.
Jalen Hyatt. I do like that one, too.
I don't want any Giants wide receivers. I don't care. None of them I want. I have them all projected for like 30 receptions each. I can't pick one of them, and I don't think the Giants will be able to pick one of them. There's too many average NFL wide receivers in that room. So Hyatt, Goff, Everett, Purdy.
Purdy's a good pick there.
Wow.
Now, this is if things just totally fall apart in Indy, and there has to be somebody to run the ball. So I'm just going to take Deion Jackson just in case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think Zach Moss might be the guy there for them.
Broken wrist.
You got to take a risk there. Will, you went with Tyler Conklin as your tight end. Are you confident with him being a week in, week out guy, or you think he's going to be a streaming option for you?
No, I think he's week in, week out this year.
And
I just think with Aaron Rodgers there, I look. I thought Conklin's upside. I mean, he's shown upside. He just needs the right quarterback with him. And I think at this point in Aaron's career, tight end may get more looks.
He's had great wide receivers in Green Bay, but the tight ends really have never been the first look there. Tunyon had a really good season where he got all those touchdowns, but even outside of that, hasn't been great. Yeah, Mercedes Lewis was a great 1 yard. You're 1 yard out. You throw a play action pass to Mercedes Lewis.
Look, if Conklin gets me a touchdown every week, I'm good.
Yeah, but you're going to get weeks with Conklin where he gets you 0.
Happened to Irv Smith, man.
Dude, he can't stay healthy.
Zach, you went Roshan Johnson. Are you just taking a chance that he could be the back?
Yeah, I just want to take all of the Texas running backs that
there you go.
Played
one old here.
So I just back end my Texas running backs to start the draft and one to end the draft. But that's just how we roll. No, I just think I want to see right away his involvement, week 1, because he could be more involved than we think.
He definitely.
I like the Zamir White pick. It was between Deion Jackson and Zamir White. So since Jacobs was actually there, I was like, maybe they'll run him more than Zamir White.
Yeah, now I'm looking here. Last pick of the draft. Tight ends, Sam Laporta, Michael Mayer, Luke Musgrave, all rookies. Not really hopeful on their prospect. Dawson Knox, now maybe he's behind Dalton Kincaid. Taysom Hill is good for some great weeks and some terrible weeks. So not really a guy I'm looking to start. Irv Smith is a name that's interesting to me. He could be the guy for Cincinnati. He could also turn out to be nothing. We got the guy who wasn't the guy in Cincinnati last year, Hayden Hurst, for the Carolina Panthers. Juwan Johnson, a touchdown machine. And I think that's the direction I'm going to go. I want to see what the Saints offense looks like. If it turns out to be
tight ends, boy. Troutman.
And I think if this turns out to be okay, I think that Juwan Johnson could get a couple touchdowns here. Let's just kind of recap all of our teams here before we end. I'll start it off. I ended up with Kirk Cousins as my starting quarterback. Extremely pumped about that. My running backs, I got Nick Chubb, Miles Sanders, Cam Akers, Alexander Madison, Kenneth Gainwell, and Jeff Wilson. All guys that I'm very happy with. At the wide receiver position, I end up with Garrett Wilson, Amari Cooper, Mike Evans, Jordan Addison, and Sky Moore. And my tight end is Juwan Johnson, obviously a little bit down there in compared to my other positions, but I'm definitely happy with that team. No real big, mistakes that I think I made. Am I happy that Juwan Johnson and Kirk Cousins are going to be in my starting roster? Not overly ecstatic about it, but I think there definitely is worse options. Zach, you had the 7th overall pick. Just quickly run down your team. Are you happy with the way this team turned out for you?
Yeah, let me be this shiny example of what happens when you take a quarterback in the 3rd round and your wide receiver 3 is a toss-up between Michael Thomas and Adam Thielen. So if I look back now, I'm pretty happy with the upside, but I'm not too confident in my complete wide receiver depth.
Yeah, definitely. You got Amon-Ra, Chris Godwin, and then it does the big fall off there to maybe the ghost of Michael Thomas and Adam Thielen. Who knows which one of them will show up? Will, you want to quickly just recap your team and give us some thoughts on it?
Yeah, I like my running backs, but a lot depends on what the heck happens with Josh Jacobs. I think Mahomes is going to get you points no matter what. I'm high on Kirk and Jacksonville. And I like Zay Flowers, so I feel like I got good depth at wide receiver. I have enough wide receivers to make it work each week. And, with Detroit, I think, honestly, Montgomery in the 7th round, and he could be the RB1. Yeah, I'll take it.
Are you worried at all about only having 3 running backs on your roster?
No, because I think some of the guys that have over running back their rosters will be moving running backs off their roster during the season. And so I'll just have to watch the waiver wire.
Yeah, for sure. Was that a shot at Jeff? I know you guys have had extremely opposite teams. Are you taking a shot at Jeff and his 7 running backs and 3 wide receivers? Is this what's happening here today, guys? Are we?
Jeff is preying on those wide receivers delivering.
I got some other tricks up my sleeve.
Jeff, let's recap your team. What do you like? What do you not like about your team?
Well, normally I wouldn't go this running back heavy, like I said, but there were certain. I think I always like to grab potential RB1s because there are going to be guys that emerge as wide receivers that are going to be wide receiver 2 that actually put up decent points. I'm looking at like Josh Downs with the Colts. Alec Pierce is still there. I don't think he was drafted. I honestly think Josh Downs has some potential because of the ways that they're going to use him. And then Justin Ross as well with the Chiefs. We still don't know who that wide receiver 1 is. We know Kelsey's basically the de facto wide receiver 1, but we don't know who the actual guy that's labeled wide receiver 1 is going to be. I don't think it's going to be Tony. I don't think it's going to be Hardman. I think Justin Ross has some potential there, and Rashid Rice. I like those two guys. So I would probably go and pick up one of those guys off the waiver wire. Or pick up Ross, I should say. Rice was drafted. Pick him off the waiver wire. So, and there's other guys as well. Zach, your guy in Carolina, I think DJ Chark is really the number 1 receiver there. Once he gets his hamstring together. And there, I'm going to throw out a name that should bring a smile to your face, Zach, which is Allen Robinson with the Steelers. Your guy. Even though he's the wide receiver 3, I think he might. He's got some potential there in Pittsburgh. So.
I can honestly say I've not thought about drafting Allen Robinson anywhere this year, but I still do have him on a couple of my dynasty teams. So, I mean, when you look at it like that, maybe Allen Robinson can come back this year. Who knows? Who knows?
There it is.
That is our mock draft episode. Hope you guys enjoyed and learned something. You got to kind of see some different spots, who guys we like, some guys we don't like, and like we said, we got Jeff going RB heavy. Will went wide receiver heavy, especially in those middle rounds, and Zach and I went for more of a balanced approach. He took a quarterback early. I did not. So you can kind of see which sort of strategy you like this year. It changes year after year, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and thank everyone who participated in the mock draft. Thank you guys all for joining. We'll see you later.
All right, Zach. Thanks, guys. Let's ride.
Let's ride.